The only thing separating Zia from a $50,000 motion-sensitive alarm was a single rusted fire escape ladder near the back alley of the Tinsley art warehouse, blocks from the museum district. The morning humidity was already stifling, making the black gloves Malik insisted they wear feel like suffocating rubber. "I hate this part of the city," Zia hissed, her breath ragged, as she scrambled over a dumpster. "Too quiet, too clean. I can hear the air conditioning humming, and it sounds like 1,000 white people judging
Three
my..."
knocks. Always three. They say it means they know where you live.
Hear the full story. T's stories.
Life choices. "That's the point," Malik whispered back, flat against the brick wall. He was focused on the heavy-gauge steel door. "They never expect anyone black to be this far inside their bubble at 6 a.m., unless they're sweeping the floors. We're ghosts here. The downtown surveillance is for the money, not the workers." He pointed to a low, barely visible security camera. 3 minutes. That's how long the night guard takes to check the West Wing, and that camera has a blind spot right here. He moved with the coiled efficiency of a professional, using a slim piece of modified steel to defeat the high-security lock. The door opened with a near-silent thunk, a small but monumental victory. They slipped into the warehouse, the air instantly colder and smelling of varnish, marble dust, and money. Inside was a cathedral of stored wealth. Crates holding priceless sculptures, climate-controlled rooms preserving famous canvases, and rows upon rows of nondescript white boxes. They followed Deacon's cryptic notes from the ledger, a row number, a shelf height, and the number 7, which Malik realized stood for 7 wounds. They found the location deep in the warehouse, the only section guarded by an interior laser grid. Zia's blood ran cold. "He didn't just use a lockbox, Malik. He guarded it like a diamond. This ain't a decoy. He had to make it look like one to Sledge, didn't he?" Deacon was playing all sides. Malik pressed his mouth close to her ear. "We go under the beams, slow, and if you sneeze, I'm gonna let them catch you." It took a minute of agonizing, sensual maneuvering, Malik directing Zia's body, his hands brushing her hips and back to guide her flat against the concrete floor. Their bodies pressed together in the dark, cold space, to inch past the grid. The psychological pressure was enormous, making the shared, controlled movement intensely intimate. This was their twisted form of foreplay, relying solely on each other to survive. They reached the designated shelf. It held a simple, heavy-duty gray lockbox. Malik used a key code from the journal to open it. It wasn't full of documents, diamonds, or guns. It was full of tapes. Dozens of small, old-school video cassettes, each labeled in Deacon's immaculate handwriting. Zia grabbed one, her fingers shaking, reading the label, "Hobby Lobby, May 2023 B." "What is this?" Zia whispered, her voice cracking. Malik opened another. "Montrose Apartment 4B, Nov 2024 C." The sickening realization dawned on Zia, hitting her harder than Deacon's skull hitting the pavement on Almeda. This isn't his political leverage, Malik. This is his sexual and emotional torture. This is the secret video archive of everything he did to the women he controlled. Her own pain, her own violation, was suddenly multiplied by every tape in the box, stretching from the 3rd Ward up through Midtown and beyond. "He didn't just collect their money," Malik breathed, staring at the tapes. "He collected their shame. This is what Sledge is really looking for. This is the ultimate control over the city's elite, not because they paid Deacon, but because they watched him hurt people." Zia picked up the box, the weight of the tape suddenly heavier than the ledger they still carried. "Deacon didn't just want me to keep the secret. He wanted me to become the secret. I was just another character in his sick collection." A single, quiet tear finally tracked down her cheek, a tear not of grief, but of absolute, crystallizing fury. She wasn't laughing or crying. She was simply and controversially done. "We can't just burn these," Zia said, her voice steely. Now devoid of all weakness. "We use them. We release them. We let the whole damn city know what they stood by and watched." Before Malik could argue, a distant thump echoed from the front of the warehouse. A heavy service door opening. "That's not the night guard," Malik muttered, his hand instinctively going to the small, cold handgun tucked into his jeans. "Sledge is here." Lil Key talked faster than we thought. He grabbed Zia's hand, pulling her toward an unmarked service elevator, his eyes wide with desperate action. "We are out of here. We need to disappear. Forget downtown. We're heading south, baby, to where the concrete is harder and the names are smaller. We're going to Sunnyside. They stepped into the elevator, dropping fast. Into the Houston morning, escaping the cold, artistic tomb, just as the footsteps of Sledge's enforcers echoed through the warehouse aisles. The ledger was leverage. The tapes were a weapon of mass destruction. Zia and Malik had just gone from running for their lives to running the war.